Hi, I'm Jim Gordon.
I'm Lita Leapin.
And welcome to another edition of Our City Tonight.
Well, we're standing in Richmond. We don't get out to this area very often.
No, we do not, but we're going to change that in 2021. Starting right now, we're at the Executive Hotel and Convention Center at a fairly new restaurant called Freebird Table and Bar.
And we really look forward to trying all the great food that they make here.
That's right. We're going to do that after you watch this.
Well, we're now inside. Well, I didn't ask Jim to join us for this part. You can see why, all to myself. We're joined by Chef Mark, and just love this place. You have now put your own creative flair on the new place. Tell us what this food is. What style would you say this food is?
Yeah, we've opened a Canadian tavern, and it's a great place for travelers and locals alike. And, you know, we're really trying to bring everyone in for the best happy hour in Richmond.
And it certainly looks that way. Let's start with the far end there. I know that we peeked on the menu, and I believe we were calling them corn dogs, but there's so much more.
Yeah, we have a few nods to the southern states in the U.S. So we've got a andouille sausage corn dog there. It's got a nice cornbread batter, definitely elevated from what you're used to, and one of our top sellers for happy hour.
Interesting. And going down, coming towards me.
We've got some buffalo prawns here and Nashville hot chicken sliders. And just over there, you know, you need to have your greens, so we've got a nice crunchy green salad, as well as Richmond's only true buck-a-shuck oyster.
We've been talking about this. This is sort of the happy hour menu. We certainly want to talk about those as well.
The shrimp po' boy is a great complement to happy hour. You know, a little bit spicy, great snack to have while you're in for a drink.
Wonderful. And let's right back to the oysters. This is kind of one of your signatures. Tell us about this.
Yeah, you know, we do oysters at all of our locations, but in Richmond, you know, it's really something that I think has been missing, is this great place where you can come in, enjoy a few drinks, maybe watch the game on TV, and have great BC oysters for $1 each.
I can't believe it's a buck-a-shuck, unprecedented, really. So thank you, Mark. That's awesome food. Joined now by Stephen, who's the general manager of Freebird. And Stephen, elaborate a little bit more why your restaurant is so unique.
Well, I think Mark did a really good job of touching on the fact we're a Canadian tavern, and part of the Canadian tavern is Canadian beer. So all our beers are local, microbrewed, right now 8 on top, and a hope that the bigger and busier we get, we'll have that much more. So it is also a great opportunity to join us on game nights for a beer and an appetizer, $15. Stop in on watching any one of our large screen TVs and just have a nice, relaxing, good time.
Yeah, now that the Canucks are playing, they're back. It's great. You're going to have a rush of people trying out this great food, and microbreweries always are a pull for people.
Absolutely.
And there's not a better match to a good local microbrew to great local oysters.
Oh,
you know, celebrate the Canucks and all the greatest products in BC.
Sounds wonderful. Well, we're going to come back. I'm going to invite Jim, and we're going to talk a little bit about the mains that you guys offer here at Freebird.
He's Brooklyn born, but we claim him as one of our own. He's an award-winning singer, songwriter, producer. His music, his work has appeared on over 35 million records and counting. We're continuing with our Canadian Music Icon series, and it's a great thrill to welcome Mark Jordan to the show. Mark, welcome to Our City Tonight.
Thank you for having me.
You're quite welcome. Good to have you, Mark. Hey, lots to talk about. I've been a fan, as I said to you, for a long time. I always like to go back to the beginning. You've been making great music since the mid-'70s. Do you remember the moment? Can you talk a bit about what it was that attracted you? Who did you see? What did you hear that made you say, I really think I want to do that?
Well, you know, my dad was a singer, and he sang with big bands and orchestras in New York. And he was born in Montreal, but he moved and worked in New York, which is why I was born in Brooklyn. And so it was in our family. And then he was offered a show in Toronto in the late, maybe 1950, something like that. One of the first television shows. So he came back to Toronto. And I grew up here, but there was music everywhere in our house. And my mother also was a great singer, but she just she didn't do it professionally. But my dad was always on it.
Hey, Mark, was there as a teenager you're being influenced? I'm assuming, I shouldn't assume, but the Beatles, everyone seems to be on the list. But
yeah.
Who were you looking at in the 60s, let's say, early 70s, that really drew you into being a singer and a songwriter?
Well, unlike most kids of my age in the 60s, I listened to a lot of, I was listening to a lot of Billie Holiday and Nina Simone and stuff like that. But when I heard the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan record, that really changed my life. I thought, man, that's exactly what I want to do, and I just gravitated towards that style of music, and I already did play the guitar. So, when I heard Dylan, I thought, this is my life.
Cut to the mid-'70s, signed by Warner Brothers, and my first exposure to you is that massive hit, Marina Del Rey, which we were playing kind of a jazzy version at the beginning of the segment. A whole bunch of hits that followed. You come into the 80s. Can you talk a bit about sounds, different trends and everything, and the challenges as you go forward and sticking to, say, what you want, but also adapting, because everybody did it, where you're adapting to different sounds and different trends?
There's a Celtic influence in Canada, in the music in Canada, that is not in America. America has more sort of black roots, and we didn't have that here. So my sound changed when I went to LA, like stuff that would have been a lot maybe folkier. I don't like using that word, but anyway, became a little more R&B, connected to R&B, basically.
Hey, let's talk about your latest album. You've got a new one coming out in just this year. We'll talk about that in a few seconds. But your latest album, Both Sides, an orchestral album of songs you didn't write. I love this. Can you talk briefly about this latest album?
I wrote 2 songs on it. I wrote a song for my wife and a song for my daughter. But they're just songs, as you go through life, there are songs you just love. And as a singer, I thought, I'd love to just sing those songs on a record. And so we have a little bit of a different take on a few of them, and I just picked songs that I've loved over the years, and I thought if I love them, somebody else has got to love them as well. So we recorded them with the Prague Symphony Orchestra, which is like a different style for most of the songs, but I did it with a great arranger in Toronto named Lou Pamonti, and we had a great time doing it.
Hey, you mentioned your wife. We should shoot her some love. The very talented singer-songwriter Amy Skye. You guys both have an album, hopefully coming out this spring. Yes.
Yes, we were working on it till early this morning. It's a duet record and also a lot of covers and a couple of originals, but just songs that both of us have loved. And I've never done a duet record. I've done duets with Amy, but I've never done a whole CD of hers. So with her, it was really great.
That's great when you can work harmoniously with your wife on an album. That's great. Hey, Mark, it's been a great thrill having you on the show. As I said, I've been a fan for a lot of years. I'm going to hold up the CD with the Virgin Megastore logo on it here. This is your greatest hits, which is still out there. A lot of your songs are some of my favorites. We'll have all Mark's details in our closing credits. Mark Jordan won our latest in the Canadian Music Icon series. Mark, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, James. Thank you.
Well, we're stepping back just for a few minutes from On Location. We're back here at the studio of our production partners, Hubcast Media. And, Lita, we're going to talk about some movies. Theaters, of course, are closed, but you can find many avenues and some great films. We've picked a bunch of smaller movies that you may not have known about, and we want to jump into the first one, a very cute British film called Love, Sarah.
And Love, Sarah follows a young woman who is trying to fulfill her mother's dream of opening up a very cute little bakery. All the things that are involved with that, it brings together some estranged family, lots of cuteness, very syrupy.
I really like this film. The Brits do something very well. They do a lot of things really well when it comes to movies. In this category, they really own, which is to take a movie, like Lita said, it's kind of syrupy, but they fill it with a great cast, a lot of recognizable faces whose names you may not know, including Celia Emery, who's been making great films for decades. Rupert Penry Jones, another familiar face, Shelley Conn, Candice Brown, and a character actor I really like, Bill Patterson. They all come together. The first 20 minutes of this movie, stick with it because it's kind of listed as a dramedy, but the first 20 minutes are kind of sad as they set the building blocks in motion for what you're going to see about this bakery, and it opens up. Love, Sarah is available on VOD and digital. Now, Lita leads us into our next film. Sofia Coppola is back.
Yes, written and directed by Sofia Coppola. If you loved Lost in Translation, there's similarities here. The movie's called On the Rocks. It is starring Bill Murray and Rashida Jones. Well, in a quick little overview, she is basically a young woman who suspects her husband is having an affair, and it brings her together with her father, who is an aging Lothario. It is hilarious, actually. It's quite funny. Very New York.
Bill Murray and Sophia obviously have a great chemistry. They've worked together before. And Rashida Jones, she's fabulous in everything that I've seen her in. Hey, let's jump to a movie that we both liked. I saw this a couple months ago. You saw it recently. There are certain actors, and we're going to talk about one in a few minutes, but first with this film. There's actors that can take a good movie and make it better just by their performance. In this movie, it's promising young woman, Carey Mulligan.
Mm-hmm. She is great. The movie is a revenge story, and it's a young woman trying to revenge her best friend. I know that this movie certainly wouldn't have been made unless the Me Too movement was out there in the forefront. It's quite dark. I guess they categorize it as a dark comedy. You're laughing, you're kind of crying. I have to say I was on the edge pretty much the whole movie, but I did quite like it.
Yeah, some great surprises in this movie. It's not formulaic. It's got some twists and turns, as we mentioned. Carey Mulligan, who's just built a brilliant career over the last 15 years. She is fabulous in this. Good shout-outs to Margot Robbie, the actor. She produced this film. And Emerald Fennell, she is the writer-director in this film. She has cut her teeth on some pretty good TV product, including the second season of Killing Eve. She was the showrunner, has acted in The Crown, and a big, longtime favorite in England called The Midwife. So look for Promising Young Woman. It's on VOD now, which leads us to another movie that I saw just recently. Again, another one of those movies that's good, that's made better by the actor who is in it. This one, and I hope I get his name right, Matthias Schoenhardt, a Belgian actor whose name you may not recognize, but whose work you certainly will. He's been in a ton of stuff. This is the story, a mob movie, family, set in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. I got to tell you, this cast is great, and it's led by Matthias, who rarely raises his voice, but he draws you in as great actors do. And this guy is so good. I watched this guy in everything. He has yet to disappoint. Look for Brothers by Blood. It's available now for viewing on VOD and digital. Hey, one last shout out we should mention as well. A movie with another great cast, Jason Segel, Casey Affleck, and Dakota Johnson in a movie called Our Friend. This is a lovely story, true story, written by Matthew Teague, and it's based on his wife's life story. We want to leave it at that. Just, it's all about friendship, hence the title, Our Friend. Those are our movies.
Yes.
Well, we hope you're enjoying our city tonight. We are back here at the Executive Hotel and Convention Center, just outside Freebird Table and Bar. We're going to head back in there to try some mains in just a second. But Lita, As we always like to do,
Yes, Jim?
where do people find us online and our YouTube and all that
On
stuff?
social media, well, we love you to contact us. Any comments, ideas at Our City Tonight on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and definitely our YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can see old episodes. Hey, we should also remind you, if you haven't seen it before, you can check out the print version of Our City Tonight. Wow, there's the brand new cover of the brand new issue you're looking at right now. The magazine is available now. We've got a spotlight on a whole bunch of great restaurants we checked out last year during a very difficult 2020. Look for Iconic Concierge magazine available throughout Vancouver. You ready to go inside to try some mains with
Yeah.
Chef Mark?
Definitely.
We're going to do that right now. Well, we're back here at Freebird Table and Bar. They've allowed me to join because the mains are here. This is always exciting. We are joined once again by Mark, who I can kind of see through the plexiglass, but we need this up here, obviously, for safety. Okay, Mark, it's always great hearing about what you do with mains and other places we have filmed you in, some of the other restaurants in the chain. Let's start with, boy, this is the scene stealer here, obviously, yeah?
Yeah, it's really the signature dish, and the feather in our cap here for comfort food is our buttermilk fried chicken. So it's slow braised in buttermilk and then battered and fried, and it's definitely in the running for the best fried chicken in Vancouver.
And what's at the far end there?
So this is our Brant Lake Wagyu burger. So all of our beef programs, we focus on local as much as possible, and Brant Lake, Alberta has some fantastic Wagyu beef that we use for both our steak and our tavern burger.
Steak over here. And I know that Claire, who we'll be talking to later at the end of the show, operations manager, she mentioned that this dish is one of your most popular
Yeah,
go-tos.
by far, the Nashville hot chicken trend has stayed on trend this year, and it's one of our top sellers. Everybody loves coming in, crispy, spicy, super, super moist and juicy. It's an incredible dish.
And another popular one, which is close, but yet too far, over there in the corner.
With the Brant Lake Wagyu steak, it's got an amazing tavern gravy that's actually seasoned with a little bit of pickle juice. It's the chef's secret here.
Now, we were talking about this being the tavern, the Weary Traveler. I know this is going to be a great place when we can open up and have travelers again.
Yeah, it's one of the really good things. You know, we started out close to the airport and expected this to be the hub for people traveling, giving them that comforting experience where they've been on the road all day or in the airport all day. But now we're really focusing on our local community here. And we've got a great room to come and enjoy a drink. This comfort food translates really well to that, and watch the game.
And we should also mention too, Mark, and we've talked to you, as I said earlier, many times on the show. You talk about the menu, you've got some comfort items here, but I know when you're involved, you also want to get someone to try something they may not try. So can you talk a bit about how you've taken this menu and maybe just elevated it a bit to maybe entice people to try some things they may not try?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Freebird's one of the best places you can find in Vancouver, but especially in Richmond, where you can bring everybody from all different backgrounds and tastes to come and find something for them on the menu, from fried chicken to oysters. You know, there's a great story behind everything, and there's a lot of technique that goes into taking something that's a comfort food classic like fried chicken and really making it something special.
Yeah, and I love what you say that fried chicken is universal. So as the tavern people, as the travelers come, they're going to find something so unique, but still very comfortable in ordering that particular dish to feel at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very nice, Mark. We will come back here one more time to close up the show. We'll also talk to Claire that Lena mentioned earlier, but some of the safety precautions they're doing here, as we do in all the restaurants now. You see the plexiglass here between us. That's coming up a little later in Our City Tonight.
This segment of Live Debt Free is brought to you by Debtco.ca, helping Canadians get out of debt based on ability.
Welcome to another edition of Live Debt Free. We have our financial and debt restructuring expert, Chris Smith of Debtco Canada, with us today. Chris, you're the founder and the owner of Debtco Canada. We're so happy that you're joining us today, especially with the current state of business in BC. And we're certainly interested to hear your opinion of what the BC business environment looks like coming out of a very challenging, can we say, year 2020?
For sure, for sure. Well, thank you, Lita. It's always a pleasure to be here. I'm going to hit you with a stat that came out in October that you look at the Vancouver business community, and I guess the Vancouver Board of Trade did a did a study, and 25% of the business owners in Vancouver don't think their business is going to be open 12 months from now.
Oh, goodness.
Which is it's staggering. And you look at British Columbia as a whole, and there are 532,500 businesses operating in British Columbia. So substantial number of businesses. 98% of those are small businesses, and 83% of that 500 plus thousand businesses are businesses with 4 and less people. And it's interesting. I was looking at some stats, and in the last 12 months, ended November 2020. Only 264 businesses filed for bankruptcy.
Wow. Okay, that seems extraordinarily low. Can you explain?
It is low, and I guess that those numbers are a little bit skewed because not every business failure is captured. So to give you the 5 reasons businesses fail, bankruptcy. So if you're in trouble and you're going to bankrupt your business, it's very expensive to do that, and a lot of people don't have the money to actually bankrupt their business. Often there's a receivership. Your business gets in trouble, well, the bank sends in the receiver, and they just take control and shut it down and sell it and do all those good things. We've got bailiffs. Let's say a bailiff came in for unpaid rent. You've got your business, you're operating, suddenly you don't have anything in your space, or you've been locked out of your space. So that's a problem. A lot of business failures can be captured in a personal bankruptcy. And then some people just abandon their business. So not all those things are captured, so the numbers are certainly skewed.
Well, so how did the pandemic complicate the situation for business owners then?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I think before we touch on that, I'm going to touch on the reasons businesses fail, okay? And you know what, I think if you don't connect with your customers or your clients, which is really marketing, I think you're going to have some challenges. I think that a lack of a unique value proposition is going to hurt your business. Yeah, I think leadership dysfunction happens often, and then lack of profit. So if you don't have those things to start, we've got some challenges, and then you throw the pandemic in, as you say. Wow, we've had deferrals that happened out there, Lita. We've got the government that stepped up and put a lot of money into programs to help businesses. Yet at the same time, we're talking about $40-50 billion. Yet at the same time, we've got things like Sea-Doos and boat sales and motorcycle sales that went through the roof. So I don't know where all the money is going, but is it all going to the businesses? I'm not entirely sure.
That doesn't sound like it.
No. So, Vancouver Board of Trade came out with that information in October. 25% of the businesses don't think they're going to be around in 12 months. We've also got 60% of the business community in Vancouver doesn't think they'll ever return to what was the normal for them.
So what happens when the business starts to fail?
You know what? It really depends on who they owe money to, but essentially as it starts to fail, you struggle making your payments. If they're secured, their creditors are taking your assets. They could be locking you out of your business, or it could be legal actions and collections. It's certainly tough stuff.
And so what are the options then? That's always what people want to hear.
Yeah, they want to know how to get out of the problem,
yeah,
right? So,
definitely.
Yeah, you know what? They could sell assets to pay off some of their debts. That's an option. You could sell your business. You could perhaps take on a partner or an investor to inject some new money into your business. You could consolidate your debts at a lower rate. That's certainly helpful. You could settle or cut deals with your creditors, try to negotiate and see if you can make some math work. You could borrow from family or friends, but then again, you've got to pay the family or friends back. So that's a slippery slope sometimes as well. Bankruptcy is an option. And then a lot of the stuff that we do is helping people to settle their debts based on ability through a restructuring plan.
That sounds fair. So as we wrap up, can you share some successes? We always like to end on a happy note.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll give you a success that I'm certainly proud of, and it is an ongoing business that's a very successful restaurant in the area down here in the Lower Mainland, and a lot of startup costs that they were never able to get a handle on. So they had a massive debt load that they were carrying for years, and they just couldn't get through it. So they approached us. We went through, we put a game plan together. We got them on a 5-year plan, including, their trade suppliers, the government debt, all that good stuff. Cut it down, spread it out, and they've been living a stress-free, happy life ever since. And I think they said to us, "You saved our business and you saved our life." So it was like, all right, good stuff.
Yeah, we've all heard the stories, and we know that it's the relieving of stress when you can actually pay your bills and that. So We certainly appreciate having you on the show again.
Happy to be here.
That's Chris Smith. He is our financial and debt restructuring expert of Debtco Canada. And this was another episode of Live Debt Free with Chris Smith. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Leah.
This segment of Live Debt Free was brought to you by Debtco.ca, helping Canadians get out of debt based on ability.
Well, we're laughing before the camera started rolling. We're back here where we began the show at Freebird Table and Bar. If you are a regular watcher of our show, you may recognize this woman, Claire. She has been on our show a few times, talking about some of the other restaurants in this group. Claire, thanks for a great afternoon. We enjoyed the food, and it was great to check out a place in Richmond.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon at Freebird Table and Bar.
And you have taken over this space and done some great changes. Tell us a little bit about that transition.
We took the opportunity when the space opened up in the fabulous Executive Airport Hotel to make it our own, make it light and bright, to have a great, comfortable place to come and have fantastic fried chicken and a great time.
Oh, more than fried chicken. There's a lot of amazing food here. But you also have an addition next door as well.
Freebird Beer, Wine, and Spirits. Again, took the opportunity to refresh a space into a great new, unique place for Richmond, where you can come and grab a beer to go, or also have a lovely wine tasting experience with the fabulous manager, Michael.
Yeah, we met Michael, and so there's wine tastings there, but it's a really quite an extensive cold beer and wine store. It's you know what? You can't even just call it that. It's a lot more than that.
Yeah, it's a great little room for all your beer, wine, and spirits needs.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we should, before we take off, Claire, talk a little bit of something we got into last year. I think with you, were the first one we did this with last summer, and that's talking a bit about the safety here. Now, the room is big enough that you can space the tables out well enough, but talk about some of the precautions you guys have taken.
Yes, for sure. In all of our locations, we have the luxury of space, so we really have just maintained that 50% capacity, where we've spread it out so you have your own space, but you can still feel comfortable, let your hair down, and have a great time. And know that we're all, of course, during service, masked up and lots of sanitation.
What a great time, and we promise we're going to get out to downtown more often. We did that today with the bar here in Richmond. Thank you, Claire. Thanks to Mark. Thanks to Stephen. Thanks to everyone here. And thank you for watching. I'm Jim Gordon.
And I'm Lita Leapins.
We will see you on the next edition of Our City Tonight.
Outdoor wear for Jim and Lita provided by Helly Hansen, alive since 1877.
Youngblood Mineral Cosmetics provided by Soluzione Spa Products.